Right. Mic check. All right, mic check. Mic check. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we are live. All right, a second. Let me get everybody in the room. Let me call. There are the room controls. All right. All right, guys, welcome. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Are you guys hearing me clearly? I usually have some music that's playing, so I just want to make sure that I'm not fighting the music. Right? You can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right. Oh, here we go. Disable waiting room. All right, guys. Welcome to another journey. You guys are coming from 2D CAD, correct? Am I right? All right, I see some thumbs up. All right. I remember nowadays when we have online meetings, I need to speak in emoji as well, right? So I realize some persons will answer me in emoji. So I'll make sure to have my emoji list up. So I heard you guys had a kind of a wild ride last semester. in 2D CAD. Is that so? Anybody? Come on, guys. Speak up.
Yeah, you're right, sir.
Anyway. So, this semester we're going to be doing 3D modeling, I can promise you it won't be a wild ride. It will be more of an exciting ride. We're going to be doing some animation, some modeling. You guys had used Revit last semester. Anybody here use programs like Lumion? Anybody? Twinmotion? Any Twinmotion fans in the house? All right, some people here. All right, so we're going to be doing that kind of stuff. We're going to be doing just a little bit of designing. But before we start, well, I would have met everyone here already, right? You would have had me in digital design media. Am I correct? All right. Cool. So there's no need for introductions. Wanna know me already. Wanna kind of know my style already. Just in case anybody is seeing me for the first time, or maybe you don't remember me, right? I am Brian Williams. I am the CSA computing lead. Even if I'm not teaching you, I'm probably working in the background to help make your lives a little bit more easier, believe it or not, right? I've been on a mission for the last over 10 years of teaching at UTech to make the computing modules more palatable and exciting, right? I know that from the point of view of you guys, the classes, CSA is a stressful place, right? I know that when it comes down to the end of the semester and you have studio and you have all these assignments, right? But what I can tell you is that it is getting easier, right? We're trending towards making the courses a little bit more easier. My mission is with computing, so I can only speak to computing, right? So we did make some updates to the module to make it more easier, make it more accessible, all right? So what I'm going to do is just let me carry you over. Let me share screen now. I'm going to get through our regular housekeeping stuff, which some of you already know already. So that is me, Brian Williams. So we'll be having classes Monday mornings with everybody. Everybody got my email, okay? Or maybe you heard it from a friend of a friend that we want to be having classes on Monday. Let me bring up my whiteboard here. 1 second.
Sir, can you turn down the music a bit?
Aha! See, I knew it. Damn it. I knew that was right. So while I usually while I teach, I usually have something going on there in the back. Is it too loud?
Yes, sir.
Kind of complete a bit.
Oh, exactly. Where's the volume for this thing here? Which one are these? This one? Still there? Is it off? Confirm?
Still playing.
No, it's not this one then. I can try another one. All right, cool. It's off now, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Right, so let me bring up this thing here. All right, so as per usual, you guys can see my screen, all right? Right. So as per usual, we'll be using the class website, right? We're going to talk a little bit about schedule. Um, um, and right. So we were saying that we want to have the 3D modeling class. This is the practical class in the morning, right? For 3D modeling, well, before I get into the assessments, so the lecture class, this is what we want to talk about. On the timetable, the lecture class um is for who can remind me? 3D modeling. Here we go. Guys, what you seeing on your timetable for the lecture class? Nobody know? All right, I have it here. 2 to 4 o'clock. Am I correct? Right? Anybody can confirm that's what they're seeing on the portal to make, okay, cool,
Yes,
cool,
sir.
I'm not
cool.
seeing that, sir. I'm seeing it in the morning.
No, for the lecture class.
Yes, in the morning.
Oh, you're seeing the lecture in the morning? You sure?
Yes. Yes, Monday in the morning, yeah.
Hold on, so when you're seeing the practical for?
I think the practicals on Saturdays.
Oh, okay. Hmm, that might be a different time table. Maybe that sounds like a previous semester.
From my own,
Anybody else?
sir, from my own, I have the lab now, and for the lecture class, I have it at 4
At 4?
today.
Oh, okay. Um,
Sir, for mine, the lecture at 2 to 4 and then the lab at 4 to
right.
something. 4 to
The
6.
latest
Yeah.
timetable should show that you have the lab at 2 to 4. And some of you have classes from 8 to 11, and some of you have classes from 4 to 7. That's the latest version that I have, right? But anyway, regardless of that, usually we determine at this class, because the advantage of the computing classes, at least the ones that are online, is that we can reshuffle a bit to make things a bit more palatable, right? So we already said that we want to try to have one session in the morning. Those of you who have it in the afternoon wouldn't need to come because it's online. For the lecture session though, the options are if you want to have it from 2 to 4, or you want to have it on Saturday after 6, just in case anybody is 7 day to 8. So what usually happen, I mean, we tried it over the years. I've been teaching, well, online at least. We tried it both ways. Last time around, the vote was for it on Saturday. I think last 2 times. I think the main reason for that is it's kind of space it out a little bit because in the lecture sessions we are doing there's a presentation that we do pretty much every week. So it kind of space it out a little bit so that you have some breathing room rather than having both of them on the same day. So I don't know. I did run a poll at the end of the right. I did run a poll at the end of last year. Every year I run a poll. Majority of people like it that way. There are 1 or 2 people that say, boy, you know. Usually the heavy lifting class is in the practical session, meaning that now when we're having class, you know, we're talking about modeling and we're doing some modeling. Usually we're going to be in the software doing some work. And the lecture sessions are usually a little bit more lightweight. I will tell you about the module in just a bit, but pretty much for the first half of the semester, we have everybody choose some topics and we talk about it. We have a discussion slash presentation in the lecture session for the first half of the semester. And then the last half of the semester, the lecture session is just used as a means to help you with your final project. So so the heavy lifting is not in the lecture sessions per se. It's in the practical sessions. And the lecture sessions is just like if you never understand something in the major project, we just do it in the lecture sessions. So the last 2 times, most people seem to be happier with it being on Saturday, to space it out. You guys have studio on Tuesday, right? Tuesday and Friday, correct? Should be.
Yes, sir.
Right. So usually there's no assignments given out in the lecture session because I know that some of you would be using the weekend to kind of prepare for your studio and all of that. So it's after the so let me go into a little bit of what the module is about, and then we can determine what to do with the lecture session. That's why I put it at to be determined. So on the class schedule, it's set up for it being on Saturday. Because I just put it there because possibly you guys would maybe want to have it that day instead of having the 2 of them on one day. But we'll determine that near to the end. All right, so welcome to those of you who are here. If you are any at all excited about doing 3D and modeling and stuff like that, this is the place to be, all right? I'm gonna bring up this presentation here. A sec. There we go. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, hold on. No. Not this guy. All right, hold on. And here is sounding a little dead. Can anybody confirm with me if I'm fighting against the music? Mic check. Was that a no, Abigail? Oh, yes.
So you're fine.
Okay,
You're fine.
cool. Okay, cool. All right. So first it's a little bit of overview. Here we go. Yeah, this is the guy here. Slideshow. Okay, you guys are at level 3, right? 2 more levels to go, right? Anybody here play video games? Who here play video games? Anybody? Nobody? Okay, 1 and 2, like 5% of the class. Technically, if you play Candy Crush, you still play video games, so that counts. Right? So we have 6 different levels here. If you remember when all right, cool. I see you, Daniel. Your hand come late, so I assume you play the Candy Crush since that was last. So you would have remembered that we at the beginning I showed you this tier list, and we were at DDM last semester. When you were in DDM, we talked about we introduced you guys to SketchUp and Photoshop, Illustrator, and all of that stuff, right? Evelyn, was that module, would you describe it as hard?
No, sir, because you had a recording, so we could guide ourselves through the recording.
All right.
Yeah, that helped a lot.
The recording is the saving grace. By the way, we still have our recordings this year, and we also upgrade the system a little bit, so we're going to make use of some of the AI summaries and that kind of stuff. So in addition to the recording, you can kind of get a bullet list of what was discussed in class, which is pretty cool, right? The recordings will be made available to you guys, right? But anyway, I'll come to that in a little bit. So next we did 2D CAD, and that is where you would have gotten introduced to Revit for the first time, but you focus mainly on documentation. So knowing things like symbols and how to lay out your drawing on a sheet, how to dimension and annotate your drawing, right? So now we are at level 3, right? So unlike video games, the difficulty does not get harder the higher up you go. I would say what increases is your freedom to explore, right? So as we go a little higher, it would be less about using Photoshop to do this specific thing and more about you just picking whatever programs you want to do whatever, right? So you're going to realize that you get a little bit more flexibility the higher we go, right? So now we're going to, the main idea for this module is 3D modeling and rendering, right? And I know when some of us think of rendering, we're thinking of those beautiful pictures and all of that, but we're going to do in addition to that, we're going to touch on different techniques for rendering. But rendering doesn't have to mean photorealistic pictures, right? So we're going to look into that. All right. I'm hopefully going to see all of you next semester when we'll go into building information modeling, right? And the difference between these two is that the 3D modeling is mainly general purpose modeling for the purpose of helping you with design, whereas building information modeling is more about producing drawings using the AEC tools. When I say AEC tools, the wall tool, the window tool, you would have gotten introduced to that in CAD. So now we're going to use the full set of those tools in building information modeling. That is when you kind of truly, hopefully, learn how to use Revit, right? Because leading up to that point, we'll kind of touch it just a little bit, but BIM is like where you should be. Hopefully, after that, you are very adept with Revit. After that, we're going to go into advanced computing 1, right? And that's when I see you in 4th year, right? And that is when we don't teach any software in that module, because you would have learned everything from 1 to 4 already. And it's all about how do you use what you've learned to do some really cool advanced visualization. And we also do a measured survey as well. And then I will see you on the way out in advanced computing 2, which, as I say, remember, the higher you go, the more freedom, the more fun it is. Advanced computing 2, we explore other things related to architecture, film, movies, video games, and how it can help architecture to be communicated better. So that is our trajectory, right? And you guys are smack dab in the middle, right? BIM, building information modeling, is really critical to the industry nowadays. You guys looking to get a job, looking to start your own thing, there is no going around it. Everywhere you turn you hear this term BIM, 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 right? So that's why we dedicate 4 classes towards interacting with BIM. You started from the 2D CAD. Pretty much the highest point of learning BIM will be next semester when we do building information modeling. So we're going to just go a little bit more deeper into using BIM, which means we're going to be using Revit, which means you guys would need to have Revit installed on your devices, right? Yep. All right, so I'm going to just jump down to here we go. This guy here. All right, so welcome to our module. We're going to introduce you to the basic principles of 3D modeling and visualization. We're going to learn about lighting and rendering. This course has developed a lot. Most of the programs and techniques we use nowadays is real-time rendering software, Lumion. I think some of you said you use Lumion already. We're going to be using Twinmotion in this module, but there are other programs out there. Anybody know of any other real-time rendering program like Lumion and Twinmotion?
Terry, what about D5?
D5? Yeah, man. You mean Chaos, right? Yep, exactly. So nowadays we have these real-time rendering programs. Just 5 years ago, when I used to teach this module, we had offline rendering, which basically you press render and then you come back 2 hours later and see your render. Nowadays it's instant, right? I remember we even had a render farm set up in the computing lab. When we were rendering a video, it took, using all the computers in the lab, each student took about 5 hours to render about 3 minutes of footage. Yeah. So the computers had to be running for 5 hours to get 3 minutes of animation footage, which I know to you guys is just crazy, right? But yeah, that wasn't too long ago, really. So anyway, now what you're seeing here, these blue circles represent the main things that we're going to be looking at, right? So we're going to be looking at how do you transform sketch into schematic drawings, right? We're going to learn about rendering, lighting, composition. I'm going to be helping you guys out with your studio project. This year you're doing housing, right? So hopefully, well, you guys would have gotten an introduction on Friday. So do you have an idea of what your final project is going to be? Did they give you an overview?
Yeah.
Right. So remember I told you how this module is evolving, right? So what we're going to be doing is some of the work that you would do in Design Studio, we're actually going to be doing it in computing, right? Which would mean that your total workload would be reduced. So we're going to actually be rendering stuff in design computing that you can use in your in computing, in 3D modeling that you can use in your Design Studio, right? We're going to also do a little bit of research and theory on modeling and the application of 3D modeling in the industry. That is where, when I spoke to you guys about the presentations, we're going to be doing some presentations, that presentation is going to be a little different, but I'll save that surprise for later. And the main course, the main pass-fail, right, all or nothing assignment that we'll be doing for this module, which is this big circle right here, is going to be doing 3D modeling. 3D modeling of using doing a major project, right? We're going to be creating an awesome structure and we're going to be rendering that structure with images, different types of rendering styles, and animation, right? That's going to be our main target. So what you're looking at here is, so 20% is going to be your presentation. All right, so we jump right into the numbers here. So 20% is going to be your presentation. Well, let me start at the top. 10% is class participation. You guys should know from DDM that my version of class participation is a little different. Anybody can tell me what's my theory with class participation? Who remembers it from DDM? How did we mark class participation?
By doing little assignments in the class, sir, and then posting them in the mirror board.
Right. So class participation is going to be done by these random assignments that pop up, right? For those of you who said you play video game, which is like 10% of the class, which I believe is maybe more, right? You're playing a game and you see a bonus pop up to earn double points. That's kind of like how we do the class participation. During the semester, you might come to class and we say, hey guys, we're going to model a 3D couch. And you model a couch, you submit it, it goes towards your class participation grade, which is randomized throughout the semester, right? So the key theory of this is just show up at class. It might be a class where you have a class participation activity, or it might not be, all right? So next is the presentation. It's 20% of your class grade, right? This is where we're going to look on different topics relating to 3D used in the industry. And you're all going to put yourself in some groups and present. It sounds really simple, except there's a twist. And the twist is we don't know what topics we will be researching. I'll expand on that later. Of course, the big fish, the big elephant in the room is the major project. That's 50% of your class grade. It's almost impossible to fail this course because, like, you know, just do the major project and you're like halfway there. The great news is that the major project, I basically hold your hand throughout the whole process. When we come to class, we tackle a little bit at a time. So that's the kind of sequence of things. We build out a little bit of the major project. And then when you get to the end, you pretty much have everything all put together, right? I'm not big on assignments and homework and that kind of stuff. I like to just tackle everything in class and get it done with. You know, this, like you guys, I was also in CSA. Assignments are the real killer because, you know, you have to spend time with the assignments when you have to work on your studio. I always try to work on everything in class. That's why I said just come to class. We'll just work out everything. And rather than come in and then you leave in with assignments, right? So that is my approach. Then that final 20% there is, I call it like free marks. Because notice there's a link to Design Studio. So what you're going to be doing is creating a interior rendering of your Design Studio project, a single room inside your Design Studio project. So what that means is that you guys don't have to model anything because you would have already have that model from your studio project. Let me ask, how much people here do their studio project in 3D? Meaning, or would this be your first time? Anybody here have a 3D model of their studio project? Have ever done a 3D
yes,
model? Right. What about Jada? Let me hear from some other people. Are you here, Jada?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever done a 3D model of your studio project?
No, sir.
All right. Cool. What method do you normally use? Like hand rendering, Photoshop, what?
Illustrator.
Ah, Illustrator. That's interesting. All right. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. Let me get two more persons. Karen, are you here, Karen?
Yes, I'm sir.
What about your studio projects you've done in the past? Have you ever done any 3D model or supporting 3D model of it?
Yes, sir.
What you use?
Lumion,
Okay, Lumion. So what you build it in?
SketchUp.
SketchUp and Lumion. All right, cool. I got you. All right. So one of the objectives of this module is that I will be showing you guys a method of building out not your studio project. It's going to be our little project that we have in computing. What usually happens is that most of you guys apply what you've learned here to your studio project. Some of you, it might be a little new, so you don't want to take the risk, right? But it's totally up to you, right? At the end of the day, you will know how to move from a sketch, from an idea of a sketch to a 3D model, to renderings, to animation. That is our mission here in 3D modeling. And it's up to you to apply it in Design Studio. However, here is the catch. This 20% assignment, it's asking you to take a room from your Design Studio project and render it for us. That means that if you guys invest in building at least a room of your Design Studio project, you can just use that work that you did in computing. So that lessens the overall work that you have to do. You don't have to build something in 3D modeling and then build something in Design Studio. Just take what you've already built in Design Studio and carry that room into 3D modeling and just render it. And that's when we're going to learn about photorealistic rendering and lighting and all this stuff. If you're interested in all of that, then this is the right place. Well, you guys already know me already, but just in case, so 3D modeling and rendering and drawings is what I do for a living, right? Let us interject here. Right, bring up website here, so yeah, there we go. Right, so that is exactly what I do, right? I try to archive most of the different work that I do here. Most of what I do is visualization stuff. These are all projects that I have worked on, some in the past and some in the future. This is played, right? And not only necessarily rendering, but also diagrams as well, right? A lot of time, and photography. So a lot of time. Okay. Let's pause that. Are you guys hearing that? Were you guys hearing that audio, by the way, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, a lot of those things are things that I'm personally interested in and excited to do. That's why I love to teach computing. I'm pretty much a computer nerd, and the university recognizes that, and they say, "Hey, Brian, can you continue teaching computing?" And I say, "Yeah, I can, but I have to teach it online based on my situation." And they say, "Okay, fine, we're fine with that." So hopefully you guys are fine with that. I'm happy to be here and happy to pass on this knowledge to you guys. And hopefully, while I'm here to learn from you guys as well. You know, every year I do this, I learn some new stuff. Whether it's new programs, new techniques, you can never know everything, right? So that is our roundup for what we will be doing in computing, right? Any questions on this? Any questions, guys, about our breakdown? Any concerns?
Sir, what 3D modeling programs will we be using?
That's a good question. We're going to be using primarily Revit, but officially we'll be using Twinmotion for our rendering program. You can use, if you're like a D5 fan or Lumion fan, you can use it. But in the module, my examples are going to be done using Twinmotion. And what else? Pretty much that's it. We're not going to go into the Photoshop and the Illustrator stuff. We're pretty much just going to stick to Revit and a rendering program. Yes, Sanjay. Did I pronounce that right? Sanjay or Sanjay?
1J.
Oh, 1J. Ah, got you. Silent. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Do you know if these softwares will be available in the computer lab?
Twinmotion is free, so sure. Revit should be in the computer lab. The only challenge I have with the lab is that sometimes they will install the latest, so maybe them all have 2026, maybe. I will be using 24. I don't travel too close to the sun. So but that doesn't matter actually in this module. You can use whatever you want, yeah, because you're all doing your own individual work. So the answer to that is it should be available in the lab.
And quick pointer, Revit and most of the Autodesk suite is free online.
Exactly.
You provide student identification.
Exactly. Thanks for telling me. I was just about to tell you guys. When I did, okay, so yeah, Revit is free. I know that, and look, I mean, I know that some of you might download the program and use it. Some of you might download it as a student. It doesn't matter where you get it from, as long as you have it for the class. So yeah. All right. Any other questions related to the breakdown of the assignment or coursework? What do you say? You good? Good? Stefan, you good? You understand everything?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the timeline, right? So this is the timeline we're going to be working with. This is a kind of a estimated recommended timeline. We have 13 weeks. There are 5 checkpoints, right? So remember I said the major project, we basically tackle it together, right? That makes it very easy for you to pass this course, because it's not like I just send you out into the wild and say, build this thing and hand it in at the end. It's kind of like, okay guys, this week we're going to do this. This week we'll do this other thing. And if you're doing the same thing I'm doing, then you are on track. If you find yourself falling behind what I'm doing, I come this week to the roof, and then you are doing something that was done last week, then that is an indication that you're dropping behind, right? The group presentation runs concurrently. So for example, what you're seeing here for the checkpoints, that's usually in the practical sessions, and then in the lecture sessions we're doing these group presentations, which I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, right? At the end you have the studio-based project. Remember, this is where you render something that you built in Design Studio. So this is not really work that, like, you don't have to model anything for computing. You're using something that you already built, and all I'm showing you how to do is how to adjust the lighting and render it and that kind of stuff. This is going to be of a kitchen space, so you're going to learn a little bit about kitchens as well, but not like, it's not Design Studio, guys. We don't do Design Studio here, we do computing. So we're going to learn a little bit along the way, but primarily I'll be showing you how to do interior renderings, how to set up the lighting correctly, direct light, indirect light. And this goes, it doesn't matter what software you're using, even if you're using OG software like 3ds Max, or you're using all the way up to D5, the concepts are still the same. All right. So yeah. So this will be our schedule. Notice that checkpoint 3 is pretty big, right? And it has the most weighting, right? This is where you're building the walls of the project. And as I said, guys, this is the trick. It's almost like when you come to class, we actually build this thing up step by step, right? And I build it alongside with you. So if you work on it during class, you're good to go. You don't have to do no work when you come out of computing class. You're free to do whatever you want. The only thing I would say that you'll be working on computing outside of class will be the group presentation. And that is usually this I think I need to update this because that usually ends at about week 6. We find a way to compress this thing so it doesn't last all the way to week 10. So pretty much by half the semester, the lecture classes are like lightweight. You're only there. So for example, if you were working on something in checkpoint 4 and maybe the class time wasn't enough or you didn't understand it, then when you come in the practical session, then when you come to the lecture session, it's like you could say, sir, I didn't understand how to build foundations. And I say, okay, let's run through it. That is pretty much what the lecture sessions ends up being in the latter half of the semester, because we would have taken care of the presentations from week 6. I believe they should all be done. Everybody understand that? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's why I'm telling you that every year we upgrade the course so this timeline needs to be updated because, as I say, the way that it's set up now, the presentation is pretty much done halfway in the semester, right? All right, so you guys know about this already. So the major project is broken down into 5 parts, really. That's what it is. So I don't call it the major project until the end of the semester, but I call it the checkpoints. You understand? But we do the checkpoints in class. So this is worth 50%. The research project is 20%, as we discussed. The design studio based project. This is where you choose. Oops. Go back. This is where you choose your interior space from your design studio to render in the class, and then you have the class participation. The module is the syllabus is actually on the class website. If you check it out here, CSH computing. All right, so most of you are familiar with the class website already. We go to 3D modeling, right? So the module syllabus is here. This is pretty much officially the things that you are going to learn. This is especially important if, let's say, for example, you're transferring from a different university or from a different course, and they want to know, what did you guys officially learn in this module? This is where you get that information, right? And I'm not going to go through it in this format. I'm going to look at it in this format here, because this is what the different units teach you. Unit 1, application of 3D modeling and CAD in the field of architecture. So we learn how to go from sketch to 3D model. And Unit 2, how we use it in the design process. We're going to actually design a little cottage, right? And Unit 3 is about how do you model using BIM tools, building information modeling tools. So we're going to do this in Revit. And Unit 4 is about rendering and animation. We're going to learn how to do lighting and rendering and that kind of stuff, which is, nowadays, it is so easy, guys. Like, if any of you use D5 or Lumion, it's like, you understand? All right. Kristen, you following me so far? Is Kristen here? Or just running back to the computer? Yeah, Kristen, I don't know. What up?
Kristen, right?
Right.
What is the how does resources for a computer deal with D5? Is it resource intensive?
That's a good question. Anybody here use it? I'm not a D5 fan, but all of those programs it's all about your GPU, right? Remember we did a little discussion on GPU and hardware, but I know that was all the way back in DDM. Hopefully we don't forget. You remember what the GPU is?
Oh yeah, I remember. I was just asking it.
Right. The same thing that you used to play video games, right? Ironically, it's the same thing that we need to do these renderings. So if you have a gaming computer, you are pretty much okay. That's usually the general understanding. All right. So D5 would be the same thing. As long as you have a gaming computer, it should be fine. Twinmotion, same thing. Which is why a lot of you try to get a gaming computer. You know, not for gaming, but for work, right? But you know, it also can play some games too. Right? I don't remember who is a Candy Crush fan, so yeah, can play Candy Crush very easily. All right. So, do we do a rundown of the module? Well, what we're going to do in this first class is we're actually going to start the major project, because as I said, we do the major project throughout the whole semester. So I'm going to introduce you to the major project, right? These are the different steps to the major project. So first, we sketch out a very small hut, cabin, if you want to call it that. We do some drawings of it. That's checkpoint 1. Checkpoint 2 is we build the terrain and the foundation, so it looks. Yeah, forget you can't zoom. Hold on, I can zoom windows. All right, can you guys? Is it zoomed for you guys? Are you seeing the zoomed up version? Nobody confirm?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, so checkpoint 2 is where you build the site, the foundation, add some foliage, right? That's checkpoint 2. Let me zoom out here. Right. Checkpoint 3, this is the big one. This is where you build the roof, the walls, the stairs, things like that. So checkpoint 3 is the major thing. So let me show you. So this top part here, up here, so would be checkpoint 3, where you build up the walls and the windows and the roof and all that stuff. The foundation, and I'm using an example of a tower here. Like, this is not the actual tower that you're going to make, as all of your stuff will look different, right? But if I was using this model as an example, you see the structure at the bottom, this would have been checkpoint 2, because it's the foundation, right? Checkpoint 3 is everything on top of the foundation. All right. All right, Danielle. You understanding so far?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Checkpoint 4 is where you will render. But we not only render photorealistic stuff, we also render an exploded view, a perspective section, and a hidden line. So we render 4 different methods of visualization, right? And we do all of this from, well, except the photorealistic, we do everything from Revit. And for the photorealistic, no, that's when we're going to learning, you know, the photorealistic rendering. And then checkpoint 5 is an animation, and the animation is really simple. It's just a 360-degree animation. There is no music, there is no credits, you know, there is no intro logo, you know, nothing like that. It's just a camera going around the building. Now I know some of you maybe might have the film making genes, right? And you know how to do these awesome videos. You are going to get a chance to do that, but not yet, not in this module. When you see me again in another module, then we're going to filmmaking and we'll do all kind of awesome things. For now, it's just a simple 360 video. That's all that you're required to do. And inside this video, there are some checkboxes that you need to have. You need to have a water body, things moving, sun, shadows, blah blah blah. And that's it for the major project, right? This is an example of one such major project, right? So here is the rendering. Here is the exploded view. Here is the axonometric view, and here is the 3D section. This is your output that you do from your major project. And this particular animation you just saw, which was this one. This is the one that you see on the computing screen. That's there. This one was done in Twinmotion. It's not 100% perfect. Some funny business happening with the water, but it has pretty much most of the things that are required there, right? All right. What do you think, Alana? You ready for this?
Ready as ever.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go back. Yeah. All right, so that is the major project. And we're going to actually dive into that today. We're going to start the process of doing that. But we're kind of going, we're doing an overview of the module first before we dive in. Let me show you the controversial presentation assignment, right? And so I'm back on the class website now, right? All of you have access to this. Here are the different assignments, right? You simply click on the button to bring up the handout. For this module, all of the submission buttons are on the handout. So for example, if I click the coursework project, which is a major project, the only way to submit this is if I scroll down, I will see each of these. So here is checkpoint 1, submit checkpoint 1, or 1A, 1B. Submit checkpoint 2. These are the submission buttons, right? You guys should be used to this from DDM, right? So this is how I collect my work, right? No email. Use the submission buttons on the handout, right? So for the presentation assignment, these are the topics. Can you guys see that? All right. Addison, which topic would you choose?
Probably topic 9.
Topic 9? But how you know what is topic 9?
I mean, it's the shortest sentence or shortest thing, so we come up.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Okay. Looks can be deceiving, you never know. Anyway, the reason this assignment is like this is because we actually don't know what the topics are, but you guys are going to make a educated guess as to which topic you want to choose. And then every week, every group will have 2 weeks to prepare a presentation for that topic, right? It's not a how do you put it now? It's not a major project in the sense where you're working on it for 10 weeks or anything like that. No, it's almost like a discussion. I want to call it a discussion, but it is a presentation, right? Every week we reveal a new heading, right? So it's almost like you can look forward to every lecture class we have. We reveal a new topic. You don't know what the topics are, but you'll have to pick one, and then it's revealed to you 2 weeks before you present. So everybody has 2 weeks to present, and then we reveal the topics going down, right? And these topics are rotated as we go on. The most interesting thing about this assignment, and I know this page looks a little bit crazy, but follow me, all right? So follow me, guys, follow me. This assignment is 20% class presentation. 15% out of that 20% is based on, on how you present. It's based on the quality of it. Do you have your sources? How relevant is it to the architectural community? What was your presentation like? What was the visual like? These are regular things that you would be used to by now, being in CSA when you present. So you might be wondering, okay, so that gives me my 15 out of my 20. What gives me my 5%? And this is where the interesting part comes in. Every presentation that is happening, we're going to do 2 presentations per class. And in every class, the other groups that are not presenting, each of them need to pose a question to the groups that are presenting. You following me, guys? Right? Yes?
Yes, sir, we're following.
Right. So the 2 groups that are presenting on that day, the other groups that are spectating, each of those groups need to pose a question, like just, like a representative from each group. Every presentation that happens, that is the sequence throughout. So in total, we'll have 5 presentations. That's why I tell you this is only going to take like half the semester. Right? So there will be 5 presentations every for the whole semester. Every week there's 1 presentation. The groups that ask the question, right? That is how your other 5% gets added on. You earn 5% by participating in the presentation. All right? AKA, make sure you're here when the groups are presenting. All right? All right, I'm gonna make that soak in a little bit. Don't worry, because we'll be meeting. This stuff we're gonna take care of in the lecture session. All right, so we'll dive back into it in the lecture session. We will choose our different presentation topics, and we'll choose our groups that we want to be in. It's totally up to you what groups you want to be in. You can make that up. We will do that in the lecture session. All right, guys. All right. So that is I think you have an overview of the whole module now. Let me see. What did I leave out? The studio-based project. We'll deal with that later. No, we don't have to cloud up our brain cells right now, because we're just concentrating on the presentation and the coursework. But you know what the studio-based project is. As I say, you're going to take something that you build for your design studio, carry it in computing class, and we're rendering it. That's an interior space, by the way. That is the gist of it. All right. So this is our participation section here on the website. So as you know how participation works, you might come to a class and you have an activity for that class, you do it, you submit it, you get your participation grade. The number of activities is totally random. It might be 3 or it might be 10. Like it's just a vibe thing. You come today and I say, I feel like we should model something, Let's model something. And if you model it and submit it, you get your point. At the end of the module, if we did 10 things, I add up the 10 things, and if you did all 10 of them, you get 10%. If you did 1 of them, you get 1% out of the 10 for your participation. Everybody understand? Hopefully, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Answering on behalf of the class, cool. All right, if I scroll on a little bit more, this is the schedule that we spoke about. I just put it there so that we can be reminded, you know what I mean? All right, so students rated for the class site. So I don't post the names yet. So as usual, guys, just like with DDM, at the top of the website is register for this class site. You need to register. That is how I have your name and your information. That's how I can post your grade and all that stuff. This is just like me collecting your names at the beginning of a module, which most lecturers do. Even though you did it in DDM, I do it every semester because emails change, numbers change, and all of that stuff. So one of the things you must do for this class before the end of the class is just click on the register for class site. Some of you already did it, that's good. At the end of the class, I will just update the list so that you can see who registered for the class site. All right. You need to do this in order to see your grades. Let's talk about grades. At the top of the page is your check grades button, right? So you just click that button and it goes over to the grade sheet, right? This is just a simple spreadsheet. The good news is that you guys can look at this stuff ahead of time. Like obviously right now it's blank because we haven't done anything yet. And what you do is scroll to the right to see all the different assignments. So for example, let me use checkpoint 4. So checkpoint 4 is, let me use something simple like the presentation, right? So you can see from the presentation that these are the different criteria that you'll be graded on. Depth, quality of sources, evidence and explanation, relevant connection to the module and the field of architecture. So you can actually know how you have been graded, like what did you score the most on, right? Delivery and flow, delivery, logical flow and time management. You can know if, oh, I got the most marks for time management. Is that a question? Or is that a accidental unmute? Yes, that's an accidental unmute. Right. So you come to your grade. I think you're supposed to be used to this from DDM. So this is where you come. It shows your ID number. It doesn't show your name, right? So you'll see your ID number and you can actually see the breakdown of how you were graded, right? All right. All right. What you say, Ansel? You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Let's talk about deductions. Sidel, how do I do deductions? Do you remember? Deshaun? Are you here? Where is Deshaun? Is he running to the computer? All right. Well, Deshaun come to the computer. Elandra.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how we did deductions in DDM?
No, sir. Does it have to do with class participation as well?
Yeah. Hold on, talk a little louder. What?
I can't remember, but I'm asking if it has something to do with class participation as well.
No, that's a separate thing. Class participation, you just participate in the random activities that happen throughout class. Okay, so how we do deductions here? It's a percentage per day. Right? So if you hand in the work 2 days late, 2% off. If you hand in the work 30 days late, 30% off. It's simple. It's a simple formula. When you submit the work, it's calculated based on the deadline date. It's straightforward, right? There are some assignments that are exempt from the deductions and some that are, So the default is that is how we do it across the board. So that's why when you're looking at the grade, you see this red bar here, which I hope nobody has to experience, which is how much is it reduced by. So you can see how much you got and then how much it reduced by. The reason for deductions is usually late assignment, or it could also be plagiarism, or I don't know, something bad stuff, right? So we all want to keep this at 0, right? By just handing the work. The good thing is that, as I said, guys, I hardly have any homework per se. So you come to class, you do the work. The checkpoints, there are deadlines for each checkpoint, right? Sometimes the checkpoints goes towards your class participation, right? So it varies. All right, so this is grades. All right, so we take care of grades now. What else we're doing now? I think that is it. If I scroll on a little bit more on the class website, these are just different learning resources. Some of you might make use of it. Sometimes I'll refer to it in class. These are all things that are relevant to the module. You notice that some of these are blank. Sometimes I put stuff there, like if I find an interesting article or something that we can go through, I'll put it there, right? And that's it. That is our module overview. All right, guys. Oh, and the most important thing, which is at the top of the page, right? You guys are supposed to be used to this from DDM already. We have a timeline, so it's all about the schedule, guys. If I keep you on schedule, you won't have any clashes with your design studio when it comes to the end of the semester, when everybody starts to disappear. This schedule, notice it says that it can be updated, right? So meaning that let's say that there's a holiday or something pop up that we never planned for. Let's say that there is something happening in design studio and it's going to cause you to miss a class, then the schedule will have to be updated. So if I scroll, let me zoom in here. Every time when I come to class, the first thing I'll do is check the schedule to check how we are on time, right? We are pretty much on the beginning, right? We are on the 8th.
Sir? Are you still here? Hello?
All right, I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Wait. Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question. Did you see my text in the chat asking which software we're using?
All right, so we're using Twinmotion and Revit primarily. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Also,
Yes.
can I speak with you after class?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I need to remember to have my chat up. Yeah, let me put it up here. All right, cool. Oh, sorry guys, I missed some of your messages. Oh, Janelle, you have a time. Okay, all right, Janelle, let me talk after to see what we can do about that part then. All right. All right. All right, what we're doing? Yes, we're talking about the timeline, right? So, so notice that we have everything laid out here. So if you don't remember what we're doing for class, you simply just click on it. So for example, now is the 8th, which is here, practical, introduce major project, assist students in producing 2D sketch, assist with 2D schematic design for project. This is what we're doing for the class. So every class, we have exactly what's planned out. Now I may have to rejuggle this a little bit based on two things. The election, which kind of make the start date of UTech get pushed back. So technically this is our first class, right? But I think we can still stick to the schedule, so it might update. But usually to update the schedule, I will normally tell you, right? That carries me to communication. The most effective form of communication, it just ends up being, so it's email for official communication, which some of you have my email already because I sent out an email, right? Brian.williams@utech.edu. All right, you know what it is, right? Then the other one is, where is my phone? The other one is going to be WhatsApp, right? I've given up trying to make some other way of communicating. At the end of the day, WhatsApp seems to just work good for everyone. I have a dedicated phone just for our communication. So just WhatsApp me. So for example, if there's a change to the schedule, maybe something happened at UTech and things get thrown off, I can say, hey guys, I updated the schedule, so whatever is pushed to whatever week. I can send a message. You guys can ask me messages. Just message me whenever. I can't guarantee that I'll answer you at 3 a.m. in the morning when you guys are up working on studio, but I will get to it as quick as I can. All right. So this is our schedule. If you're ever in doubt of when something is due, so for example, you might say, when checkpoint 1 due again, you just click on it here and it's September 6th to September 15th. So it's due on September 15th, right? As I said, this may have to be updated because we didn't have class last week. So, stay tuned. I may update it. All right. So that is our timeline, which is on the top of the page, right? Every computing website has a timeline that we'll use. And hopefully it's something that is easy for you to just scroll across to see what is coming when, so you shouldn't feel like you don't know where you're going. You get what I'm saying? Everything is planned out in advance already. So we just need to try to stick with this. And as you can see on the timeline, pretty much at week 10, I think it's week 10, let me see. Week 11, right. So pretty much after week 10, like we can actually be done with computing, or the majority of it. The rest of it is just you guys working on your studio-based project. And because it's tied to your design studio, what happens is that most students work on them together. Because you guys will be generating images for your design studio anyway. So it's almost like you're just giving me one of those images to get your 20% grade. You get what I'm saying? So we try to be done with 3D modeling like at week 10, and that frees you guys up a little bit so you can have the time to work on your design studio. That is the mission of computing. We try to make it condensed, but we have to stick with the deadline, guys, with the timeline. If you miss a time, if we have to reschedule a class, we've essentially pushed everything down 1 week, which, as I'm saying, last semester, guys, everything we finished. I think we finished at like week 11 or something like that. So pretty much you had the time to just work on your design studio. That was the year before. Usually that's what we end up doing as long as we stick to the timeline. So, all right, any questions on timeline? Questions? What was I waiting on? Dushan, come back yet?
Yes, sir.
Right. Any question on timeline? Dushan, you understanding?
Yes, sir. Everything's clear.
All right. Good. All right. Cool. If for any reason you guys missed class, I'm actually going to update the site. I'm going to put usually we go back home and then we go to class recordings, but I'm going to update the website actually so that you have the class recordings access right under the button for class, so that way you can just click and see what the class is and can get a little summary of the class. It's going to be cool. I'm going to update the site to show that kind of stuff. So if for any reason that you guys have any clashes with another class, I mean, not everybody is doing the module for the first time. There might be some people that are repeating the module or repeating another module that clashes with this module. The class recordings are there, right? Just in case there's any clashes. That leads me to maybe my final point in this whole overview of the module. You guys can tell me if you want to have the lecture class on Saturday from 6 to 8 rather than both the lecture and the practical on the same day, because that would mean that when you come back in the afternoon is when you would have the presentation, which is usually a little tricky, you know. From what I understood, when it was by itself on a Saturday, it's like you could prepare for it a little more. And the good thing is that the presentations, as I said, are done by mid semester. So right now, as I have it, let me see, lecture here, introduce lecture 5 work. Saturday presentation. This is topic 7, topic 9 and 10. So the last presentation, according to my schedule here, is at week 5. So what does that mean? That means that after week 5, that class, like, there's no more presentation, so it's no longer heavy with you having to produce something for that class. After week 5, that potential lecture on Saturday, we would just be doing things like assisting you with rendering for your design studio so that you can submit something for us to mark for that assignment. Things like help you out with talking about interior design, because you guys will be doing the interior for your housing project. So we try to do stuff in the lecture class to support your design studio. So it's like an assisting class. The lecture class now turns into an assisting class. And pretty much that's it for the rest of the semester. So as I said, the lecture is not a very heavy class. All right. Okay. What else do we have here? All right. That is it. So it is now 10:30. Sorry, it is now 9:30. I'm going to jump onto the class mirror board. Right. Here we go here. Right. Right. So this is what I'm proposing here. Right. So some of you have a practical class from 4 to 7. So I am proposing to merge that class into from 8 to 11. Right. It's now 9:30 now. Right. So we're pretty much halfway here. And then the one that falls from 2 to 3, I'm proposing to move that here, which is at 6 to 7 actually. So this is up here. Yeah. Right. All right, guys. Can you guys join me on the mirror board? All right. Now, I'm going to recommend that you guys open a mirror board account, right? It's free. This is so just that when you visit the mirror board, I can see like your actual name. So if you point to something, I can see that, oh, this is Anthony talking, or this is Addison talking, because the names would pop up. Right now, everybody will just show as visitor. So I wouldn't exactly know who's there, right? All right, so welcome to the class mirror board. So it's a whiteboard, and as you guys probably know, I use Miro a lot. Miro is just like any whiteboard. So I think Zoom has their own them whiteboard as well, but I use Miraboard. This is where we do some class activities. I post very interesting stuff here. So for example, if you look over on the right, you see things like kitchen design, like all this kitchen design stuff we're going to talk about later. This is all stuff that will help you guys out in your studio project, but we're not going to deal with that yet. There are notes all over the place. And the reason for that is that every class, I just throw stuff on the Miraboard, and when it's something useful, it remains there for forever. So for example, some of the stuff you're seeing here is a culmination of things that were taught in the past. So I want you to go over to the tips and guides, right? So when we're doing our major project, over the years, there are things that we have discussed and looked at, and those things that turn out to be very useful, we keep them on the Miraboard so that the following year they can learn from it, and so on and so on and so on. So you guys have the benefit of benefiting from all the previous years as we go on. So this is what the Miraboard is. And from time to time when I have class, you will see me refer to the Miraboard to clarify something, or if I find something on the internet that I want to show you, I'll just drop it on the Miraboard. All right. So I want us to just kind of get familiar with this a little bit. Don't worry if you're seeing things that you don't know what it's talking about. Eventually we'll get to a class where we expand on it. All right. There are some things on the Miraboard that are hidden. This is intentionally. So for example, where it speaks about the different topics, right? We don't know what the topics are, and we reveal them every class. And then this is where we do our group members, but we're going to do this in the lecture class, so don't worry about the class presentation. This is the major project handout. It is also on the class website as well, where I showed you guys. Where's it? 11? Right, so if I click here on the class website, it's also showing it. I just put it on the Miraboard because, you might already be on the Miraboard and it's easy for you to just use it. All right. Yes, so please don't edit the Miraboard. Thank you very much. Please keep everything as is, right? Do not delete anything on the Miraboard, right? Right. I do have a backup in case you guys delete it. So from time to time, there will be times when the Miraboard is open where you can edit it, and times when it's closed where you can only view. All right. But pretty much for the whole semester, the Miraboard will be open. Right. So, all right. So, where's my mouse? So what I want to do is I want to jump in the major project, right? And I want to talk about that a little. Here it is on the Miraboard. It's down here. I can also I'm going to just bring it up on my screen here. It's easier. Here we go. Now, since y'all on the Miraboard, let me use the Miraboard. Okay. All right, guys. So let's talk about the major project. All right. Okay, so a client has hired you to design a beach tower made of timber construction set on a terrain that includes a water body. The water body could be a beach, a pond, a river, whatever you guys choose, right? It should accommodate the post for a lifeguard, meaning that there needs to be a section where somebody can look out, right? And a general area for observation. it is able to accommodate 4 lifeguards at any given time during the beach operation period or river or pond, right? The room should provide accommodation for 1 lifeguard and the opportunity to stay for the weekend. So that means that a part has to be enclosed, right? You are required to model, render, and provide animation of the project using the software that we want to learn about. All right, so I want you guys to take a look on this diagram. Let me carry you guys to me. I see there are 16 of us on the board, right? So I'm going to bring everyone to me, right? Are you guys seeing what I am seeing? Confirm, please. Yes? No? Maybe so. Everybody with me?
Sir.
All right, cool. Now, I have this little funny diagram here, which looks a little weird, right? But I want to explain it. So students are expected to create their own design drawings, right? Drawings must be unique, meaning so every tower is going to be what you want it to be. There are some requirements though, right? So it must be in the parameters of the design brief, right? Overall, your project must be simple, not complex. We're not doing a design studio project. We don't need to be going in too much in talking about egress and exit and climate and site research and all of that stuff. We don't need to be going into that detail. The objective of our module is to learn about modeling, right? So these are the parameters that we're given, right? So the building footprint must be at least 20 foot by 20 foot, 6.5 meters, right? By 6.5 meters. The building must be 2 stories high. So you can't do a single story building, right? The support must be built from stilts, right? Columns, like it must be, you know, on some kind of stilts, right? The wall framing must be timber, so it can't be concrete, right? The roof must be roof framing with beams and rafters, so it is not a slab roof. It has to be a roof framing type of roof. The structural members must be based on structural techniques, meaning you can't defy the laws of gravity, right? So whatever you're building needs to be structurally sound, and that is why you see these things over here where we have posted a lot of these help. Some of these are from the Chin, right? You guys probably have this book already, but some of these things are what we found to be the most useful things when you guys are building your tower, especially your foundation and your walls. How does a wall really work? Things like that. All right. So that's what I mean here when I say, where am I? Here, right? Right. This is what I mean when I say that the structural members must be based on construction techniques, right? You guys do building construction with Mr. Mills, right? Is this Mr. Mills or is Mr. James? You can tell me.
I think it's James.
Mr. Mills.
Or both? Because I think you have one and then you have 2.
Yeah, building services with Mills and Mills.
Right,
but yeah,
right.
The brown guy, James.
Yeah, Mr. James.
Yeah.
Right.
Construction.
Right. Right. So I'm just saying that you can't make up things that don't exist on planet Earth, right? I'm just saying. And there is gravity on planet Earth as well. All right. So here's the catcher. This catch enough people lose points because them forget this one. Louver design styles must be included indoors and window end. So it doesn't mean that your door have to be built out of louvers like a closet door. It just means that it must be included in some way. It could be the transom, it could be the side light. And a lot of people sometimes forget about this. They just put some windows in and don't remember about it. So that must be included. So these are the criteria that you must meet for your build, right? So if I should So let me break down how this is going to be marked, right? So notice I have this funny looking diagram here, but these diagrams are things that we're going to be looking for in the market. So we're going to be looking for a roof. We're going to be looking for that upper floor lookout, however you want to design it. Big windows, no windows, railings, doesn't matter. The upper floor must be somewhere that you can see out, right? We're going to be looking for stairs. You cannot not have a stairs, right? We're going to be looking for walls. So for example, the ground floor has to be enclosed in some way, right? So there's going to be walls there. Remember that these walls must be what, Davina? What must the walls be made out of?
Timber.
Exactly. It has to be timber construction. So those of you who just draw a wall, blocks, and say it's a block wall, there'll be no points given towards that. I'm saying this because I'm seeing this is a trend I see sometimes. The windows and door must include some kind of louver design. You can make up your own windows and doors. Totally up to you. It can be complete louver, or it could just have just the top part louver, just the side, like you make it up. But don't forget to include the louver. The base and foundation, it must be on stilts, right? So don't put it under the ground like a traditional foundation. It has to be on stilts. The terrain must include a water body, whether it's a river or a pond, right? It's totally up to you. You must include some kind of entourage. There have to be trees, people, cars, whatever it is. Like you have to include, you choose how you want to include it, right? Whether you want it to be a crowd of people, one person fishing, something. There has to be a vehicle or a boat, an airplane. And don't put an airplane because that was weird when people had an airplane. Because airplanes wouldn't fly that much. So don't put an airplane. But there must be some kind of transportation object, right? Right. So this is a nice little diagram example of things that you shouldn't forget. All right. Now everything is divided into checkpoints, and you can see all the checkpoints here. Some checkpoints are even subdivided, and the reason for that is it depends on what we're doing. So for example, for today's class, one mission that you guys will be doing today is you will be coming up with a sketch. You can make the sketch. You can do the sketch on anything. A drawing program, a drawing tablet, actual paper, whatever things you want to sketch on, whatever medium you want to use is totally up to you, right? But the first thing we're going to look at is the design sketch. What does your building look like? This was just an example that was taken. This was before we moved to 2-story. We had to move to 2-story. So at one point, this assignment was single story. But that's not what we're looking at here. What we're looking at is an example of the type of sketch that you would give, right? So for the sketch, you need to give me 4 sketches. A site plan, a floor plan, a section, and an elevation. Is it still 4? Yeah, it's still 4. Right. And look, I'm not judging you on how you sketch. This is not a design studio class. So I'm not going to be like, the shadows are not represented correctly and stuff like that. I'm like, you could do this sketch in boxes, right? And you will see what I mean when I go into an example here, right? You could do this sketch in Illustrator with lines, or you could do it on paper. Who was the Illustrator fan here again? I don't remember. Who did say them use Illustrator again? Remind me. What was it again?
It was Jada.
Oh, Thea. So you use Illustrator?
Sir, it was Jada.
Oh, Gina. Right. So even if and what's that other program on the iPad again? I don't remember. And if you have like a pencil, you can use it. I don't know what it's called.
Procreate.
Procreate. Right. If you use that, totally fine. It doesn't matter what you use. What you do have to do though, you have to get it to me. So either you're going to take a screenshot, take a picture of your sketch, whatever you do, you need to like get it to me in order to submit it. All right. For me, I chose to do it I chose to do it actually in Miraboard. Right? I mean, not necessarily recommended, but it's just easier for me to do it that way. All right, so what I want you guys to do, we have almost an hour remaining. I want you guys to give me the sketch by the end of the class. I mean, it's a sketch, guys. It's nothing big, right? And you would use this submit button, submit design sketch, and we're gonna leave the drawing of that sketch now. These are the actual line drawing. We're gonna leave that for next class, right? And the reason I'm doing this is I want you guys to get familiar with a method of working on your design, starting it from a very natural point, meaning sketching is a very natural thing that you do in architecture, but how do I move from that to a 3D model? So we're actually going to be doing that. We're going to start from a sketch first, then we are going to, I will call it organize the sketch a little bit. We're going to turn the lines into actual straight lines with dimensions, right? It's not going to be 3D, but we usually when you do a sketch, to just go from sketch to an accurate 3D, there need to be some kind of middle development around there. And this is one of the first things that we're going to tackle today. Here we go. Right. So usually when we have a sketch, and everyone here sketches, right? Even if you draw a stickman, right? You guys are in second year, you can draw a stickman or a triangular roof house, right? In your mind, you might have an image of what your design will be like. You can imagine this awesome thing with a cantilever or glass windows or whatever. But you start from like little boxes and circles on a page or in Procreate or whatever. And a method that I'll be showing you in this module is when you draw those stickman and shapes as a sketch, before you go to modeling, and I put AEC modeling here, meaning AEC meaning architecture, engineering, construction tools, meaning Revit, AutoCAD, 3D Max. Give me some other programs where you're drawing. ArchiCAD. I don't recommend going directly from your chicken scratch sketch and jumping into Revit. Right? This is a no-no. And the reason for that is a lot of times when we do a sketch, there's a lot of unanswered questions. You know, you draw this box to represent the door. What's the... Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Sanjay. I mean,
sir, I have a class currently starting at 10.
Oh, so for you, okay. For you have a class at 10.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, cool, no problem. So I know that some of us might have other module. That is just for you, or that is for a set of students?
It's not everyone, but I know a few students that have it currently as well.
Okay. It's not necessarily on the timetable, but maybe like for another year or so. Okay. Well, what I would say before you go is, what is our decision on the lecture session? Anybody? You want to keep it on Monday or
Sir,
put it Saturday? Yes. Let me hear some opinions.
that is insane, bro. We're not doing a Saturday class. Like,
What you say?
sir, I don't mind it being on Monday. It's just the time.
Meaning, so you don't have it at what that time again? 11? No, 2. It's not at 2 o'clock on your timetable.
Yes, it's at 2 on my timetable.
Oh, so you say
which I'm fine with.
Okay. All right. So I see some people put in Monday.
No, Saturday, bro.
Some people put in Saturday. All right. So here what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it up to the class rep to do that vote if you want to stick with it or not, and just let me know. I will give you till next. One of my suggestions is usually try it and see if it works, and then you let me know. So you can make that decision next week, right? So in the meantime, what I will do is that we will just meet again. No, so there wouldn't be a second practical class on Monday. So we'll just have everybody come in the morning. And if there's anybody with any special case, we will always have the recording and the summary available. Right?
Sir, what time is the second class today?
It's at
2. 2? I have it.
2 to 4.
2.
That is what is on the timetable.
Okay. 2 to 4. Okay.
Right. So that is the second class today. So it sounds like most people want to leave that second class for Monday. You want to leave it as the timetable. I'll give you a week to decide. So for now, we just stick to what's on the timetable, and then I will see you again at 2. Right? But for those of you that leaving now, what I would say is, do your sketch of what you want the building. The handout is there. So just do your sketch of what you want the building to look like. All right. Make sure you sketch within the parameters that you give.
Sir, this for the major project.
This is a part of the major project. Yeah. So this is like we're dealing with checkpoint 1, which is working out the design. And what I want you to do is to submit that to me. I will just say today. I'm not going to say by the end of class, because pretty much you just use the rest of the time now to do your sketch while you're in class. So if you're not here, just do it wherever you are. I would say give it to me today, right? So everybody should have their sketches already done by today. And then I will see you again later at 2 o'clock. All right. All right, guys. For those of you that have to go. All right. So back to what I was saying. Don't worry. Asu shut up now. I've been talking from morning. So all I'm saying now is that where was I? Right. Whenever you're doing your design, and you're going to be doing designs for yes, Addison, I see your message. Right. So we should be finished before the 4 o'clock class. Right. And remember, remember I was saying that the lecture classes are usually a bit lightweight. So usually we finish before. Right. So I was saying that when you're going from sketch to modeling, it's always a good idea to have an in-between. Like when you have your chicken scratch sketch, like before you take that into some highly advanced modeling environment, do I call it a schematic layout of the sketch. Like make sure the lines are straight, have some dimensions in there, give it a little more detail before you actually start to model in detail. And this is why we have this recommendation that you go from sketch to sketch refinement, right? And we'll be doing that in the next class, the next practical class. And then we start to model. So right now what you're doing for me is sketching. And what you're sketching is what do you want your building to be, right? So I'm going to do my sketch. And by the way, guys, I should have mentioned it earlier. As you know, like from DDM, my classes are a hybrid of me talking and me and pre-recordings that I have made for the classes as well. So I do a combination of both, right? Oh yes, so Addison, the class that you see at 4 is for the practical, which is fine because you're in this class now, so you wouldn't come back at 4. What we were talking about is the lecture class and whether or not we should have it for 2 or just put it we just put it for Saturday at 6. By the way, it can be any time on Saturday now. My Saturdays are open, but usually 6 o'clock by the end of the day is when we usually say it for. So for the pre-recorded videos, it's gonna be, as I say, I'm gonna update the class website, so it's gonna be same place that you click to join the class. So it's gonna be right below. Show you. It's gonna be like right beside this button or something. So all of the practical classes, I'll put the record button beside it, and all the lecture classes, I'll put the button beside it. Right? Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. Okay. So here's what we do. Those of you that are working now, just work on your sketch. And remember how you submit that sketch to me is you go on the class website, just click on the course project handout here, and then you just click, scroll down a little bit.
Sir, I have a question. The people that are attending this class right now we don't have to attend the 2 to 4?
No, you don't have to attend the 4 to so let's deal with some class questions now, right? So let me go back here. Officially, the class is split in 2. Where is it? Here. Right. There's a lecture from 8 to 12. From 8 to 11, right? And then there's a practical from 8 to 11, and there's a practical from 4 to 7. I have a clash in this time from 4 to 7 because I'm also doing DDM, right? So this is one of the reasons why I try to combine the classes together. So I'm saying that if your timetable already showed 8 to 11, then that's fine. There's no change for you. If your timetable showed from 4 to 7, maybe because maybe you're doing another module or something from another year, then you would come to the 8 to 11 class, right? Does that answer that question that you asked me? Who was that?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah. All right. So we'll deal with some other class things. So Spence, So we talked about the pre-recorded videos. Well, here what? You see what is on the 4 to 7. What we do in the practical classes are I basically work alongside you to do the major project. So even if you don't make it to the actual live session, you would see me live in the lecture session, and we also work on the major project in the lecture session as well. We do this usually. So for example, when I did the lecture session today, I would also be talking a little bit about the major project as well. So we work on the major project both in the practical and in the lecture. The only difference is in the practical session, I actually work and build my model along with you. And in the lecture session is more like specific. So it's like if somebody didn't understand something or Rivet isn't doing something right or there's issue, we do it that way. So I would say that if you have a clash where maybe you can't be in the full class in the morning, then just use the recording and I'll see you in the lecture class and we deal with any issues you might have then. Because the thing is, guys, is that right, so the group presentations would be in the lecture session. So the first, well, we're going to talk about the schedule for that in the lecture session, but like we asked in the question now, for the first 5 weeks, we have a group presentation. There's 2 groups presenting per class. So the first presentation is not going to be this week or next week. It is going to be, let's see where I have it. So every group has 2 weeks to prepare. So group 1 would have this week and next week, and then the following week is the presentation, right? In that presentation, usually what we do is the presentation are 20 minutes long. There should be, because that's what's on the handout. So it's 20 minutes long, and we use 10 minutes for question and answer, maybe 15 minutes, hopefully not long. So usually in the first hour of class, the presentations are done. So the other hour I would use to help you guys with your project. So does that answer the question for Spence? You were asking about the group presentation. That's the idea of the group presentation. We pretty much use half of the class to do the presentations. Sometimes they stretch a little long. Hopefully they don't. On average, usually is the first hour class, maybe the first hour and a half. Oh, well, please come to class early, because if we start late, then you know what I mean? Yeah. So if there's any special case, we deal with it in the special case, meaning you have any questions regarding the major project, we deal with it in the lecture session. All right. Right. So the class recordings, right? The class recordings are going to be on the class website. I'm going to update the website. Right now it's not there. Right now it's in the old spot, meaning, let me show you. So right now the class recordings are here when you go to the home page, but I'm actually going to move them and put them on the actual page right next to the meeting button. That's what I'm working on now. So that way, you know, I think it's easier this way. So I'm going to do that right to the side. All right. Any other questions? Read the class and the schedule.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sorry, just to confirm, right? What you were saying to me is basically that my class from 4 to 7 is gonna have to move.
Is it right? Is that possible for you? Based on when I look on the timetable.
Yes, sir. It can move anytime on a day.
Okay, right. Because I noticed when I look on the third year timetable, you had the slot free, but that do account for other people that might have some other courses doing somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So what time was that session? Saturday class.
I was suggesting in the evening, because that way there's no clashes. So like at 6, usually there people have things doing. So when they come home, or some persons might be 7-day, so they go to church, and so 6 o'clock is sunset. So
okay,
right. So I found, based on when I do the polling, persons found it more free, meaning because it's not like you have to come to the class 2 times on the same day. For me personally, both times work. But I would say the only reason I would say Saturdays, well, because I have a lot of classes on Mondays, right? Most of the stuff that I do at UTech is on Mondays and Fridays, and Saturdays is like sometimes. But Fridays you guys have studio. That's like a studio day, so that leaves primarily Mondays. So I would say having it on Saturday also does the same thing for you it does for me. It kind of spaces it out a little bit, So you guys can see how it is. What are you saying?
All right. Just to confirm, there's no other one on Monday, right? You're not the earlier one on Monday that was from 2 to something. That's no longer existing, or that's for just the lecture.
Right, that's just for the lecture. That's the one that we're saying. Do you want it to be on Monday, or do you want it to be on Saturday? But the one from 8 to 11, that one would remain Saturday. I would have your first thing in the morning Saturday. Right. So
8 to 11 on Saturday. Okay.
Right. So it'll be 8 to 11 and 2 to 4, or 8 to 11 and 6 to 8 on Saturday. Those are the options. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right. For today, well, I was suggesting that you try one first, because maybe some people would be like, I don't know, I have to try it and see. So I normally tell people, try the Saturday, and if it funny or it don't work, then you just leave it on Monday. That's usually what I suggest. And then when they try it, they're like, okay, this can work, and we just leave it. But based on the poll, most people say that the class on Saturday wasn't the major thing. Let me see what they say was the major thing. I usually do a poll at the end. By the way, you guys should be sketching now, please. Like, don't listen to me ramble on. Just do your sketching.
Wait, so we're sketching for later?
You are sketching to submit this to me today. It's not for the class later. You're just sketching because you're working on what you want the design to be. Right.
Sir, please don't forget that I need to speak to you after class.
No. You can't. Oh, you mean personally, not like out in the open?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can actually just make a breakout room while some of us work, because I'm pretty much done talking.
Oh, yeah, I can work with that. It's gonna be really quick.
Oh, right. It's not related.
You as well.
Right. What's that, Elena?
Could I speak to you as well?
All right, sure. I will just make a. Say that part again. You cannot chip it out.
I was asking Alana.
Yeah, you cannot go in and out. Type it. Type it. Got your voice going in and out. Right. All right. If you wanted to go in the same breaker, yeah. I mean, you can just one can just leave and one come. So let me make that now. And yeah. All right. Hold on a second. Share first. All right. Are you guys okay? Let me assign Addison first. And then Alana can join after. What was this thing then? Okay. Let me try. All right, so what's up?
Hi, sir. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, man, I hear you.
All right. So, say basically, I don't know if you recall sending me the link about last night, 7:44 p.m. for the grade review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is for 2D CAD.
Yes, sir. I wanted to let you know. It was also you see the symbols test, and the guard host is what he gave me a problem with, not the working drawings set. So the working drawings, I have it as one file. Like I don't have it broken up like requested on the
Oh, you don't have it. All right, no problem. Just answer yes for each of the parts, and then you just submit the main thing in the last part. That's say all sheets. You understand?
So I think I submitted it in the wrong place. I'll just go ahead and redo it. Because what I didn't want to do, I had originally broken it up and submitted it, but I think those files I had removed them off my computer. So now I only have the file just in case of anything. So I don't have them anymore.
All right, no problem. So the guardhouse though is just one file.
Yeah, so I submitted that, but then I also have the symbols that you're supposed to create.
Now,
Sir,
this is a little bit
unfair, and I can explain the whole situation to you as well. He sent it out in emails, constant emails. He literally gave us an extension. He gave me an extension, sir, because I had no laptop working, which I think you were aware of even from your posts about my laptop failing me. Now, it fully shut down when I went into his class, and I explained everything to him, and he said, okay. Even the symbol test, he said, yes, send it in, right? And then afterwards, he wants to change what he said after I've done all the work, sent it in, and when I asked him about it, he's saying he can't grade it. Now, fine, fair enough, you can't grade it, but you should have told me that from beforehand. Like, don't give me the extension and then tell me after that you're not gonna grade it.
Right. So your grade request is also for the symbols test too.
Yes, sir. It's for the symbols test as well because he gave me, I think it was a NS for that. But when I submitted originally, sir, I submitted the PDF, but the file I had given him got corrupted, so it showed up as empty, even though I did the symbols originally on the time frame. So he gave me an extension only because he didn't see the AutoCAD file, but the PDF was there with my drawings. So what I did was redid it completely and sent it back in with the PDF and the AutoCAD file. So I did do the work and I submitted on time. However, It's just the file. I don't know why it was keep showing up as empty. And I used someone else's computer for it, so they didn't have it again.
So when you did the symbols test, was it what was the format of it? Was it the test? I know that he did the test, but like, is it a test where you had to do like Google form and submit?
It was more like I did it on to the Google Drive, and we all had different times to put. It wasn't in a class thing like that. It was just you submit it whenever you finish with it.
So do you still have that? So you say you use somebody else's computer, so do you still have that file?
The file is empty, but yeah, I still have it. I should still have it at least. It should be on the Google Drive that he created for us.
Yeah, but all right. What I say, because what I wanted to do was just collect the file them fresh. That's why I did a form. Let me add. I'm going to add another section for the symbols test, and you put it there. And
okay, sir, I will.
Yeah, that one is the only is it so without that that is what? That was 20%?
Yes, sir, it was 20% of the grade, and
25.
I sent it to you via email. Sorry about that. I had just attached it to the email and explained it on my email. You'll see it when you check that, sir. But I just wanted to make sure you understood exactly what happened.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna add that part to the form, and then you just when you're submitting that thing, you just submit the symbols thing too.
Okay, sir. I'll just redo
it. Say again?
I just do the whole form over and submit it properly because I think I put the working drawing like the overall thing in the slot, so I just redo everything.
Well, wait until the end of class because I need to add this part for the symbols test. So
okay, I will, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Alana, no, tell Alana when you go out.
How are you? The laptop.
All right.
It's the same situation.
All right. Yeah, I remember your thing.
A different case for me. The laptop I was using to do the work for last semester, it was crashing, so I have a new one now. And I was using that had the documents on it. It doesn't have the final document for the production drawings. It has the recovery. The work is there. It's just that some things wouldn't appear sheeted, but it's sheeted for the PDF, and the PDF is on the portal, which
okay. So you have the PDF, and then you have part of the working file, but not the final
The only problem with the working file is that some things don't appear sheeted, but the work is still there. So if you're to look on, for example, the floor plans are there. It just wouldn't appear sheeted, but it is sheeted for the PDF. I just don't have the final file anymore because that laptop, I have a new one now.
So you don't have the final file for the working file. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. I'm just saying that some things aren't sheeted, but the work is still there.
But the work is there. Yeah, man, I get it. The model is there with the views and all of that, but it's just not fully sheeted because it's not the final file of the working file. All right, cool.
So I can still upload it as one thing because I also don't have it broken down.
Broken down. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Did you guys do it broken down?
No.
When you guys were doing it?
We're just to do one complete file.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So you didn't collect like it at like in different checkpoints. You just collected it at the end?
No, sir.
What he would do?
Yeah, he just did one big thing, and
we had a Google Drive and we had the portal. The portal was supposed to be for you, I think, and the Google Drive for him.
Yeah.
We would place it in there, but I don't know. He had removed access for it for me, so I don't have access to that.
It sounds like it got a little confusing for you guys. All right. So go ahead and do that. Please put that in the comment section where you submit all the files so that
I will.
I can remember that. All right, cool. All right. So hopefully this one should be a smooth rolling for you guys. So let's see how it is.
All right,
All right.
thank you, sir.
All right, cool. Let me jump out back into the main group. Oh, hold on a second. I didn't realize I was muted. Were you guys getting an audio from me a while ago of me talking?
No, sir.
Okay. I did. Mistake. Okay. Maybe let me try this with another. Yeah. Hmm. You getting another audio from me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're here. Oh, okay. Why am I not hearing it? Hmm. Oh, I see why. I see why. Hold on. Okay, so welcome. All right, cool. You should be getting it now. 20. All right, cool. All right, so I wanted to show you guys this one. Oh, tone. And we're going to be tackling it in different speed. All right, cool. Share. Here we go. It's a nice little video sharing. Yeah, cool. Look, that's me. Okay, so welcome. All right, so you guys were getting that audio a while ago. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what we're doing now is that we're working on our design, right? And I wanted to show you a little bit of me working alongside you of how I did my sketch. All right. What I want to do is come up with an idea for our little lookout tower, right? So let us take a look here. Now we're gonna, for this, I'm gonna be using Miro board. This is the Miro app, and we're going to be, this is where I'm going to be putting my ideas. So I have here some reference pictures. I'm going to drop that here. And this is the general kind of idea that I would want. I do want it to be pretty small. So it's only going to be a 20 feet by 20 feet size.
Are you showing the Miro board?
No, well, what I'm doing now, I'm showing my version of the Miro board. And what but these are not on the Miro board. This is me picking out some of my inspirations for my design of
I can only see your desktop. I don't see what you're doing.
Oh Lord, my bad. Yeah, you're seeing it now?
Yes.
All right, cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, sharing the wrong window there. All right, so these were some of my inspiration images. All right. Lookout tower should be like, right? So, well, the first thing I want to do is there are some things that I like about each of these reference images, right? Definitely I'm loving this roof here. I think I'm going to use something like that, which gives me the opportunity. What I want to say, guys, remember that your roof has to be framing. It doesn't mean that the framing can't be flat. Just is not slab, guys. It's a timber structure. So I want you guys to remember that when you are creating your thing. All right. The second image here, I like the fact that this kind of represent that it's on the lake side. I love the wraparound balcony. I also like this roof as well. As you can see, this one kind of slopes backwards versus sloping to the side. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. I think the slant one, that's this one here, is going to be my favorite. But I do love the wraparound balcony there. My third reference image is, I love it because you can see it's kind of on the hillside, kind of from the hillside there, which is kind of what I want to create. Then you have this environment, it's kind of in the woods. So if I could combine this, I would have the water, which is kind of here, and then it's on the hillside. It also has the balcony, and it has a similar feel. It's very warm. It has timber elements, right? It's in a very kind of nature-esque environment. So these are some of the features that I want to use in my design. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to map out what this looks like, and I think I'm only going to do like an elevation sketch. So and I'm going to do it using these simple shapes in Miro. So first I want to establish the ground, so let's use a brown,
And let's do this kind of over here so I can have this in the, let's put it over here so I can do it here maybe. So here I have my hillside here, and this is kind of representing this here hillside that I have right there. And the idea is that I want to have my building kind of sitting like on something like this. Then I want to have let's see, my water. So let's make that here and like so, and this is my water right there. All right, so my building is probably going to be halfway down the hillside and halfway with the water there. Now this is just a sketch, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's kind of combining some of these ideas that we see there. All right.
So how is the sketch going for you guys? Anybody already have them planned ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So you can kind of use this as a good kind of guide, even if you did yours by sketching, right? One way you can do is kind of imagine it from an elevation point of view, so you can kind of get your visuals, you know, how you put it now. What you have in your imagination is in alignment with the sketch that you're making. Understand? In my case, I'm just using some lines and boxes. Like, this is a sketch, guys, so it doesn't matter. We're going to refine this sketch next class with dimensions and all of that. But the first thing you want to do is just to get the idea out of your head first in some very basic way. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
That I have here. So if I just have a scaled figure, I'm just going to draw a little human head there, and then put like something like that. So this is my human figure, kind of like that. So my upper floor, I'm going to copy this line, is going to be somewhere like this, and then my roof is going to be somewhere like that. Maybe something like that. Maybe I will do this. Maybe I will angle it this way, something like that. So I'm kind of getting the same kind of vibe that I had here, right? We want to have that wraparound balcony, maybe even coming out a little bit more. So that will be kind of interesting. So maybe, maybe we can have that balcony coming all the way out here. And then it would be really interesting if we had perhaps some kind of column. This goes all the way below the water like that. So that way this becomes a kind of a covered space. You know what I mean? And it's almost like maybe like somewhere that I could park my boat if I had a boat there. So I'm going to, let's see if we have, yeah, let's use this shape here. And I'm just going to, as I said, this is not a drawing program, you know, for architectural drawing, but it's good enough for a quick digital sketch. So this is my boat there, and maybe I just dock my boat there, you know what I mean? Maybe this is a little lower, could be.
By the way, guys, I want to say that I have first dibs on my design, right? So I shouldn't be seeing.
I'm quite literally designing something like this before you started.
Say again?
I'm quite literally designing something like this before you started.
All right, fine. But all I'm saying is that I'm encouraging you to explore your own design, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily like follow exactly as I do it. And by the way, this is a sketch. So even if your design looks like mine, by the time you start to put some thought into it and say, okay, where is the deck and where is this and where is that, you probably realize that it's going to be different, you know? So I just want to point that out.
I'm just going to put an idea of the balcony there. So that's pretty much the balcony. Maybe something like that. And yeah, let's group this here. And I'm going to put this. So here is that person right on the edge there overlooking. Yeah. So yeah, and I think this is pretty much what I would want to do. So the idea, maybe there are some steps here that you enter. Maybe you enter on the side here actually. So I'm going to just maybe represent, I'm just going to draw a simple ramp, something like that for now. So maybe this, you kind of come to the side here and step up here. This is how you enter into this space. Kind of step up like that. So this is another kind of lower balcony. Maybe it's something like that. Something like that. Copy this here. And then maybe the doorway is somewhere here. So this goes inside the building. Then as for here, maybe there is some kind of, well, this, I want up here to feel very open. So maybe there are these huge like windows that's up top. And let's make this a little thicker. Like that. Yeah. Yeah, and I think something like that. Maybe we can do something interesting with the way this column is. Maybe we can have some interesting kind of a structure. You know what I mean? But this is just a rough kind of sketch of the idea here. Right. Okay. Now, as we go further into the design, we are going to start to detail it a bit more, but we're not going to get caught up in the details just yet because this is just a concept. So perhaps things like the windows, which I'm not exactly sure what it will be like. Maybe the door will be here or maybe back here, and then maybe there will be some smaller windows along here like that. You know, all of this, I don't want to get caught in this yet because this is a general idea that we want to execute. Now from here, we want to have an idea of what this looks like on plan. So we're going to do a site plan. So if below this, I would draw a idea here for the site plan. And based on where my my water is at, let's say somewhere like here, I'm going to make this a dash line and like that. So this is pretty much where my water is. This is my hill going back like that. So if I kind of project based on my plan here, I could assume that my land perhaps is reaching about right here, maybe something like that. And then my building, let's say my building sits about right here. And I could get that if I just project these down like that and like that. Then pretty much that's where my building sits. So even though this is a sketch, we are also trying to make it as accurate as possible. All right. So now that we establish where the edge of the land is, it's pretty much somewhere here. The rest is below water, so we can assume that this area here is going to be pretty much water. So we're going to represent it with some contour lines. So this is showing that the land is continuing to go down, but below water, right? Now, as it relates to here, we can continue this with the brown contour lines to show that the land is actually going up, right? So there it is. All right. And then maybe it starts to get steeper as it goes up actually. So what we can do is have these lines kind of get closer, and then we can kind of vary them a little bit. So there we go. So now that we see that it's kind of getting hilly, and then it kind of tapers out again to being flat. So then this is what that land looks like, which kind of represent what we had here, right? So to give a rough idea of this, let's say that this is 0. This was here, so let's say 0. Then if we are working with meters, so maybe this is -1 meters, -2 meter, right? -3 meter, right? So as it goes down, so this is about 6 feet below water, and then this would be about 12 feet and so forth, right? And then now this would be 1 meter and 2 meters and 3 meters and so forth and so forth. 6, 7, and 8. All right. Now, if I give the rough handwriting, I am drawing with the mouse, which can be a little tricky at times. All right. And pretty much this is where our building is. So we will put this on top, and let us actually shade it yellow. Let's bring it to front. Let's make it semi-transparent, and let's do a red dashed outline. So now we have an idea of how the building sits on this piece of land. And this is our land here. Let's make this a dash line. That's a little bit too light. Let's make it a bit darker and thicker. Maybe make it red. All right. All right. So now that we have our general sketch done, let's take a look on our workflow of what we plan to do, right? So if we look at this workflow, we want to take our sketch and we want to create a 3D model in an AEC program such as BIM. So we want to create a BIM 3D model, and that's the model that we want to take to, you know, maybe cut some 3D sections, generate some rendered images. But before taking our sketch directly into a BIM environment, what we want to do is we want to refine that sketch, because right now, though we have a sketch, this is a very rough sketch. There's a lot of questions. There's also scaling. You know, what scale is this? What dimension is this? You know, we can assume that maybe, for example, this is 1 floor, but we need to have an idea of measurements before we go into an environment for modeling. So what we're going to do now is we're going to refine this sketch, and we're going to do that using Revit.
All right. Okay, so, oops. Okay. All right, guys. So that was only literally like, I don't know, like 15 minutes or how much. That is literally how long it should take you guys to do a sketch. Now, granted, you have to do a little bit more, because you do have to do, let's look back on the handout here. Let's go back to share. Where are we? We are here. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, let's look back on the handout. So what you're going to be doing for me, what I showed you is that I did a sketch of the site plan and an elevation and a floor plan. Well, I didn't go into the floor plan. I'm going to leave you guys to go into the floor plan and show that part. All right?
Sir, so we're submitting today floor plan, elevation, section, and site plan?
That's correct. So by my calculation, if it took me 15 minutes to come up with a sketch for site plan and elevation, it should take 30 minutes to come up with all 4. What do you think of my calculation?
Sir, so it's just a sketch, right?
It's just a sketch. That's it.
And for the floor plan, we'll need 2 floors since it's a 2-story, right?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. But remember, one of them is a lookout space. So remember, this floor plan, you're not talking about bathroom, living room. It's literally one empty space. So I don't want you to think about it in a complex way. The only thing you have to consider is if there are 2 floor plans, how do I get from one floor to another? So you need some kind of step.
What if you start to conceptualize the
What? Repeat that, Wayne. What if you try to?
What if you start to conceptualize the interior space already to inform the elevator design?
I mean, that's fine, but what I would say is that remember, you don't need rooms, because we don't require you to have like multiple rooms. So I would say if you already are doing that, that's fine. That's fine. There is only so much you can fit in a 20 by 20 space, you know. But sure, that is fine. However you want to divide it. The only thing I'm required of you is just show me where the steps are. Some people have the steps on the outside because it's like a tower. Some people put it on the inside. Just show me where you intend to put the step. You understand? And remember, this is all just a sketch. Look on the handout. Remember, when you're about to submit it, the requirements are right there. So for example, the topo, it should show the contour lines, it should show the footprint, where the location of the water body is. For this drawing, I would say it would be good to give me an idea of just the overall measurement. Like we know that the space is 20 by 20, but suppose your building is going to be 25 by 10. You can change the shape of it if you want. Suppose you want yours to have an L shape. Fine, you can do that. Just make sure it's the same area, roughly the same area. You know, I mean, if you want it to curve, that's fine. I would strongly advise to stay away from curves because we're not going, I think it can give you a little trouble. It will make your life a little harder because we're learning, right? Now, if you are familiar with curves and you want to dive into it, that's fine. I can help you the most I can. But I know that some of you, this is going to be new to you, so I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. That's why we give you this very small thing with very little details to consider. All right. So that is pretty much it. Are there any more questions? Just use the rest of the time to finish up the sketch. And this is an example of what most of the practical sessions will be. Usually I will only talk for an hour. I talk a little bit more this time because it's the first class. Usually I will only talk for about an hour, and then we just jump right into working on the major project. Usually we normally get done a little bit before class time, unless it's something heavy or something that we don't understand. All right, but that is pretty much it. All right, guys. Oh, I was actually updating the class website. So right now, if you go and hit refresh, you will notice that you see 2 buttons here. That's a class recording that is underneath the actual class. So I don't put the links there yet because I have to save the recording, upload it, and put the link here and do some stuff in the back end. But this is where the class recordings will be, right? I'm going to try to also put a summary there of the class. I think that would be very cool. Right? Because not only in case you didn't remember something that was discussed in class, you can actually look through the summary and get it as well. All right, guys. All right, so that is going to be it for today. I'm going to see you guys later at 2, and then we will discuss the whole what we want to do about the lecture class thing, right? But as I say, I'm leaning towards try it out on Saturday and see how it feels, and see if you want to get a little bit more free time on Monday, because that would mean that you don't need to come class in the morning, and then that's it for 3D modeling until the weekend again. So I think that's probably I would lean to that more. I would say try that first, and if that don't work, then we'll just stick with what's on the timetable. But we'll talk about it later. All right. Goodbye. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you again later. All right, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Person.
Sir, quick question. Did you give us your number for your WhatsApp?
Oh, sorry. Right. So I'll give it in the next class when you come. But it's 869, like what you're here now. It's 876-9594. All right. So you should be able to message me just fine. Using that number, all right? And that's how we'll do our communications. I'll just use that as a dedicated WhatsApp.
Also, the submission is on the website or the mail?
It's on the website. Officially, our official submission, what do you call it, procedure is going to be on the website. Yeah. Sometimes I'll put it on the mirror board, like if we're doing an activity on the mirror board, to save you the trouble of going to the website. But officially, it's on the website on the handout. So open the handout, look for the submission button, and as always, just check to make sure that you have whatever the submission is asking for. As a bonus tip, if you want to check what we're grading for, just check the check grades button here, and it will actually show you how I'm grading, all the different things I'm grading for.
We need a section cut.
Say again?
Need a section cut on this sketch?
Yes, you need a section sketch, which is pretty much just like your elevation sketch, just without the windows, Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to be, I have a packed Mondays, which is one of the reasons why I'm saying, if the class could be on Friday, I think it would be a little bit more breathable. So I'm jumping into our next class now. So I will see you again later. All right. All right. Take it easy.